This episode is brought to you by Trailer Park Yard Games, where over 28 games are delivered directly to your party. We park the trailer, you party. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it was missionleatherco.com.
I would write it down, but I'm afraid it may come out.
boobs.com. Maybe I was just looking at his passwords. His password is I love or that's his username, and his password is leather and boobs.
You know, that self-correct is going to go just well with the tales that I'm going to do later on.
That is so. I could see it out of the corner of my eye, and I couldn't get past it.
Let's have a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.
Hello and welcome to the PB and Jaisy podcast. My name is Jaisy. I am the Jaisy to the PB and Jaisy podcast, and to my left,
I am Sarah Paget. I am the P, and you sounded a little bit like Mrs. Doubtfire.
hello.
And to my left,
I'm Bill Stedham. I'm the lucky bee sandwiched between two beautiful women and a great couple that's in here to talk to us today.
Yes, we are joined by Matt and Jacqueline Marciante.
Are you sure?
My friends of many years. For some reason, I was getting tongue-tied. Matt and Jackie, who are the owners of Marciante and Company, and now also you guys have acquired Mission Leather. And I just love y'all's company. If y'all haven't noticed on my Instagram, you may see some modeling pictures of, me modeling shoes.
Can I make a confession though? I'm kind of disappointed that you guys don't smell like leather. I was really hoping that you
They smell really good. Well, leather
smell
actually
good.
Smells really good too.
I love the smell of leather.
Also, do you guys still have the candles that smell like leather?
We are actually making some more.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice little plug.
You
for
guys
that.
make candles too?
Yeah, we're working on making like a custom leather candle. So we the ones that we actually had sold out. So
You know, I need some because I've got this Airstream.
Oh,
And it would be
goodness.
really
That would be
good in
The
Airstream.
Airstream. Oh my goodness.
We're not going to talk about that.
So Jackie and I have known each other for many years. We actually met through my husband, Tom. We didn't ever meet. We kind of had like a blind date randomly where we kind of got each other's phone numbers and we totally hit it off. We lived together for a year.
Yep.
We both got married around the same time. I love Jackie, and Matt, love you too. Tell us a little bit about your business, how you guys got started. Like, how did it all happen?
Yeah, so I think it started with honestly a selfish quest to find like the best Chelsea boot on the market. I really wanted one myself, and I didn't really like any of the options available because it was like,
What's a Chelsea boot? Sorry.
so Chelsea boot is it's actually an English riding boot.
Oh, okay.
That a long time ago is when they first started using them, but it's basically like a little taller than an ankle boot with elastic on both sides, so it just like slides right over your foot. So
Awesome.
no laces or anything. It's just super comfortable, and it kind of toes the line between like a function boot and like a dress shoe.
Oh,
so,
I need to look that up. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, you're good.
I'm learning.
So there were very expensive options that are made by some of the older, like larger fashion houses, and then some very inexpensive options that are very poor quality. And we just kind of saw a gap there in the middle. And I grew up around the footwear industry. My dad has worked in boots and leather goods for over 30 years, and so
Awesome.
I was vaguely familiar with the process and thought there has to be a way to, carve out something there in the middle. And then Jack kind of brings the design and fashion element to it. And so one thing led to another. And the idea kind of clicked that maybe we can, make a brand and kind of carve out that space that we feel like is missing there in the middle.
And how long ago was that y'all started?
So we actually had the idea in 2016. We had conversations when we were dating, like before we got married in 2015. But 2016, we actually got serious about it because we wanted to do something together. He was like obsessed with shoes, which I found out when we were dating. He had over 50 pairs of shoes at one point, and I'm like, what is happening? You have way more shoes than I do. But I was really into fashion, so we definitely wanted to do something together. And the light bulb just kind of hit that we wanted to design a men's and women's leather shoe company. So, and like he said, his dad has been in the industry for 30 years. And so he learned a lot from him growing up. So yeah, we started the brand in 2017. He went to Mexico. That's where we have our factories, and we do all of our manufacturing there. So we launched our Kickstarter, which is a crowdfunding platform, in the summer of June. Yeah.
July 2017.
Yeah. So.
And how do those work? Because I've seen those online before. Like, is there an incentive for them to invest with you guys? Does it make them like kind of like a partner as you're growing, or how does that work?
So you can do it that way. It kind of depends on the company and what their goals are for the campaign. We just used it as like a pre-order platform.
Gotcha.
So we showed them the collection that was coming and said like they're about to go into manufacturing. And so at a discounted price, this kind of lets people get in first, like before the online store is even live.
Awesome. So they would pay you for that. They're getting product for it.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. That's awesome.
How it works is you basically put like an amount. So, and you have to be funded within that amount. Otherwise you don't get it. So we were lucky enough to be funded right before our launch party, which was crazy.
Oh, wow.
And we tripled the amount that we asked for.
Gosh,
so
that's awesome.
it was awesome. So we started off that way, and then we launched our online store in September.
Wow. So you go from full-time corporate employees?
Yes, we were actually working and doing this for 2 years. Like we were still working our 9-to-5 job.
Okay, so you didn't just cold turkey quit
Oh,
the
no.
9 to 5 and say, we're going to design shoes and
No.
or go bankrupt.
And if you know them, that was crazy because just trying to like plan like, hey, we haven't seen you in a long time. Can we do dinner? Would be like, okay, I have this one day available for the next 3 months because they were both literally working 9 to 5 jobs and then during and afterwards having to manage their company.
Yeah.
So what made y'all finally, I guess, switch to, okay, this is getting a lot to where I need to back off from the other things?
It was getting to a point where we felt like we were hitting a little bit of a ceiling. It was like, if our 9 to 5 is tied up, then we can only accomplish, this much as far as growing the company. Because it was literally, orders coming in, I'm taking my lunch break and running to the shop to pack up orders and try to get them to UPS, before I go back to work and that type of thing. So,
y'all were hustling.
Yeah, we were.
That's awesome.
So let
I
me
love
get
that.
this straight. You've got a factory in Mexico that you're running to while you're running a full-time job. And at lunchtime.
Oh, I thought you meant you were running to Mexico.
No. So at lunchtime, they're shipping orders back to you. So you're taking your lunch to run in and pack orders to ship them out to customers and then go back to work?
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're not even touching the fact that they have to design their
Oh.
products and all of that. So what does that look like how does it go from an idea in your head to, okay, something you can wear?
We usually, so if we have a design, we draw it out. So both of us will kind of like get everything on paper, and then we'll put the specs for the team in Mexico, send it to them, and then they have to basically come up with the materials there if it's like a completely new shape and shoe. And then kind of send us a sample, which takes, I don't know, like maybe 1 to 3 months. It's like a process. A sample will come to us, and then if we approve it, then it probably takes like another 3 months for a shoe order of inventory. So altogether, it's about like a 6-month process. Now, if we go to Mexico and we're visiting our factories, it's a lot quicker. They can get a sample to us in about a week. But if we're communicating from here, it'll probably take like at least a month.
So from paper to actually having something tangible in your hand could be 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So there's no like, I want to special order this and have it super quick. Like that's...
Special orders, I feel like we did a lot more in the beginning because I think we had a lot more flexibility. But then once COVID happened, it just became a lot more complicated. Just because, sometimes when last year happened, some of the factories were shut down and then we kind of didn't know when they were going to operate. So doing any type of special orders or special sizes were kind of like, okay, we might have to come back to this.
Well, I bet that had to be a little bit scary. Here you are where you can't manufacture because some of your factories are down. Yet this is your only job now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about how you guys pivoted. What'd you guys do?
Pivot.
So we pivoted last year in March when everything happened, like the shelter in place. And we were actually planning on opening our showroom here in our shop. And our shop is in the Design District in Dallas. And so we were planning on having like a little small gathering with friends and family. Just, hey, we have a showroom. Customers can come in, try on shoes, customize pieces. But then literally that day we were going to have the party, shelter in place happened.
Oh my gosh.
So, I think that first month before April, Matt and I were like, okay, we can't operate because our business was not essential at the time. And then we came up with the idea because then we started finding out people needed masks. So we pivoted because we had all the machinery to make masks. So we pivoted into making masks from like April all the way until July, which kept our business afloat. And then we were able to stay essential and be open to ship out all of our other orders.
Oh, that's awesome. And these weren't leather masks, right?
Oh, no. They were definitely cloth masks. People are like, you guys made leather masks? And I'm like, no.
They smell way better than the other
I
ones.
think that's called a gag.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Bill knows a little bit about that.
Oh, my God. So what does shopping at your store look like now? Do you have a brick and mortar, or is it all online, or what does that look like?
It's all online.
Okay.
There's a couple local boutiques that carry some of our shoes. And the idea of the showroom just kind of got put on ice, for a while, just while we figured things out. But 99% of our business was online anyway, so it wasn't, a huge deal breaker to shelf the idea of the showroom. So yeah, typically right now we have 2 different online stores. So we have 2 different brands. One of them is the footwear and bags, and then the other one, Mission Leather Co., is what we acquired kind of midstream. It was 2 years ago, and that one we actually manufacture here locally, and it's MacBook cases, iPad sleeves, wallets, things like that.
Awesome.
And that stuff we actually cut and sew right here in Dallas. So that's why we had the machinery to start making the non-leather masks.
Okay, so now you're talking my because I don't need a purse, obviously, or but I do need some iPad covers and things like that.
Can I time out for a second?
Yeah.
So I can see Bill's notes.
Oh, right.
And it said, he just erased it, but it says footwear and boobs.
Autocorrect.
I don't know where he was going to go with that, but I'm just going to stop him so you guys don't have to.
Wow. Okay.
I saw you try to rewrite. How often do you write boobs on your iPad where it's automatically thinking
footwear
boobs?
and boobs. Okay, I'm so sorry. I could not concentrate
hilarious.
But a great thing also about Mission that, Bill, I think you would love is that you can get your name, your initials, all of that engraved onto it. I've actually done that before as a closing gift, and it's really cool.
So I do kind of like this because we're in the season where I need 100 gifts, and I'd love them all to be personalized.
Well, there you go.
You do that.
Yeah, we do that a lot, especially this time of year. Fourth quarter is very big for corporate gifts or, personalized items. We can even get custom logo stamps made. So we do fully private label as well. And we do all that in-house right here in Dallas.
And
That's
you've got
awesome.
a website, obviously?
We do.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a mission.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it was missionleatherco.com.
I would write it down, but I'm afraid it may come out.
boobs.com.
Maybe I was just looking at his passwords. His password is I love and or that's his username, and his password is
No.
And
leather
boobs.
and boobs.
That self-correct is going to go just well with the tails that I'm going to do later on.
That is so. I could see it out of the corner of my eye, and I just couldn't get past it. So let's talk a little bit about the giving back, because I know Jaisy said that. Where does the extra go when you guys have it?
So it kind of depends. We try to partner with local organizations that we have a relationship with. So like last year, early on during the pandemic, when people kind of pulled back spending a little bit, and so we were all unsure how long this was going to last, like how serious it was. Shelter in place, is it going to be for the weekend or is it the rest of this year? Like nobody knew. And so we lived downtown at the time, and there's quite a bit of homeless people around the area, and so we started thinking about them. What are they going to do? Shelter in place is easy for those of us
If you have a shelter.
that
shelter,
have
right.
a shelter, have food, have things like that. We also had a friend that had just opened a restaurant the day that shelter in place
Oh my goodness.
happened. So he quickly changed to a delivery and takeout only. He's also very passionate about the community, and so we partnered up and did like a collaborative campaign. We just called it On a Mission to Do Better.
We made
And
a
so-
t-shirt that said "On a Mission to Do Better."
Awesome.
Wow.
Made t-shirts, we sold those, and then 100% of the profit we partnered with him to make a ton of meals, and he was just delivering those like 2 or 3 times a week to different spots around town just to make sure homeless people could get a hot meal. So
That is awesome. How cool is that? So
Yeah.
y'all just kind of wait for the opportunity or something that speaks to you, or depending on what's going on around you. It sounds like
Right.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then when we created Mass 2, we did donate a lot to various organizations and churches, and then post offices, retirement homes, people that really needed it. We made thousands of those and donated them last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for doing that, by the
Yeah,
way.
absolutely.
I think people overlook that sometimes, especially when there's so much going on. They don't realize what people are doing to try to make it work and to try to, like Jaisy said, taking something you had and just pivoting a little bit and being able to give back and keep your business. Do you guys have employees and stuff too that you're
we do.
keeping? Okay.
We do.
Because that's what people don't realize either. You've got other people that depend on you to feed their families, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
That was like the one thing we said last year. We were like, we're going to do everything we can to not lay off any of our employees. But we were blessed enough to hire more people on last
Awesome.
year. So, because we definitely needed the help.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Sarah and her husband and myself and Ann, we work together in the same industry. So how's it go working together and starting a business? I know when
Oh,
Ann
you
and
mean
I
working with your partner, like Jaisy does too? But you're talking about working with spouse.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
working with spouse.
Got it.
Yeah, obviously. But in the same business, and Ann and I were in real estate, and had been in it quite some time, but didn't have the success that she now experiences. And I left corporate America, so we were starting a new business without any income, and that brought stress on us. How is it working together, and how do you get through that?
I think in the beginning, I always tell people we really had to relearn each other, and it's like we were getting remarried to each other, because it's one thing being married to someone, but then you also have to learn how each other works. So I feel like in the first 2 years, it was definitely a challenge, because we're both in it and we both want to be in every conversation, every detail, but then quickly realize, we have each other's lanes and we're both good at certain things within the company. I would say, like the first 2 years was a lot of trial and error and figuring each other out. I think we got in a rhythm in 2019, but then once 2020 hit, that was a whole different ballgame. I felt like I always tell people it's one thing when you and your partner go through like a grieving of someone and then you really figure that out. But then also both of you having to figure out basically like a fire that's our business and saving our business with a year like last year.
And it's ongoing.
It's ongoing.
And you don't know when it's going to end.
And
Constantly putting
I
it-
felt like last year was one of our hardest years, but also one of our best years, because at the end of the day, it's like, yes, we had fights, but we were fighting for the same thing. So instead of fighting with each other, we were fighting for what we wanted to
Together.
to happen. So
Everything's just very polarizing.
Right.
It's like the wins are much larger because we're both experiencing it, and then the losses, feel much harder as well. So I think everything just gets magnified when we're walking through it together, as
For
opposed to experiencing something at work and then coming home and being able to leave some of that, at work and just share like the necessary details. It's like we both know everything. We both saw it. We
Right.
both felt it. So
Well, and just the level of understanding, so because my husband's in real estate as well. Before he got his license, he didn't understand, like, what do you mean you didn't have a closing? You're supposed to have a closing. We didn't, you told me we were closed. And like, you don't understand. Like, it just happens. Sometimes things don't happen that way.
right.
But now that we do the same thing, there's a level of understanding there that's helpful. It can be frustrating too, like you said, it can be challenging, but now it's at least that part's out of it, where I don't have to explain what I do every day and why something didn't happen. And
Right.
so, I think there's some positives for sure.
So how do you set boundaries? So one of the things that Anna and I have had to learn is that, we're both in real estate. We get up really, really early, and we've got to have some boundaries in our life, because we can't talk about real estate from 2 a.m. until 9 p.m.
2 a.m. is when they wake up, by the way.
What?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But they go to bed at like 6.
No, 9. 9. And tonight I've got to stay up till like 11.
Sometimes,
so I don't know how that's gonna work.
sometimes he falls asleep at the table or in here in the office sometimes.
So how do you set those boundaries, or do you just work all the time?
I felt like we were in a really good rhythm. I think last year was tough just because we were in the game of, okay, we really have to do everything we can to make sure our business makes it through this year. So that was really tough on us because I think 100% of our time went to that. But I think once we made it through last year, we were like, okay, once we get home, like we can probably have an hour to talk through what we need to for our business, but then like take the rest of the night and just focus on each other or focus on ourselves and really just not talk through work. Because I was telling Jaisy, I think in some of our conversations that I was having trouble sleeping just because my mind does not turn off. And I don't think I like slept at all last year. And that was a struggle for me. So I really definitely took time this year to focus, okay, we have to take breaks. We have to take like date nights during the week if we can't make it happen during the weekends, whether it be like an event or something that we have to be at. So we definitely put like a hard line once we get home that, hey, we need to cut off at like 7 or 8 o'clock at the max and then go from there.
We're wired very differently too, so it almost allows us to have different shifts.
Right.
Overlapping
So,
a little bit.
First thing in the morning, she's on immediately, and I'm more of a slow starter.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like when we get home from the shop, we'll decompress. We'll talk about work a little bit, have dinner, and pretty much after dinner is like the no work zone. And then she's ready to go to bed quite a bit earlier than me. So when she starts winding down, getting ready for bed.
Jackie's always been an old lady.
Yeah.
Hey,
that will be up to like 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just
That's
like
kind
to.
of when my second shift starts, and it's more of the, on my computer, the marketing side of things and stuff that I can do from my laptop at home. So that's kind of my second shift starts, and she can start to wind down and get ready for sleeping.
So within our team, we all we do like the Enneagram and all those tests.
Wait,
but,
what number are you?
So I function as a 3.
Okay.
I'm unhealthy when I'm a 9, but I think I'm the most healthiest when I'm a 6. I feel like I function as a 3 because I have to. Like we both own a business. He's like between an 8 and a 3. I feel like we both kind of operate as 3s, though. I would say.
I know very little.
He knows very little.
I don't know anything either. You could just say any number, and I think you're just saying a social security number. I don't know.
I would say the Road Back to You is probably the best like recent book you can read on. That's what I'm reading right now, and the guy has a great sense of humor. But he breaks down each personality type and talks about your stress and when you're secure and what personality you go to. And I will tell you, it's uncomfortable reading about your personality because the first thing you want to say is like, not me. But it's really interesting. So sorry, go ahead.
I was saying between the both of us, I have tenacity. So I definitely have a window where I try to get like everything done. I feel like you are kind of just, you kind of go with the flow. You have like pockets of time. And
I'm definitely more big picture, creative, kind of visionary. And she's very micro and administrative and detail oriented.
But that's a good match, right?
Yeah.
That works.
It is.
Sure.
Professionally, yes.
Yeah. I'll be like, we can't start the next project till we finish this one.
Well, and it's hard to relate. I know that because my husband's that way. He's an artist, and so he's a musician, and he's very like, I hate the word free will or whatever he uses. There it is. I'm a free
do whatever. Like I'll get to it when I get to it.
Right. That only works for so long.
Put a
before my
contract
eyes start
you need to put a
switching.
contract in on this house. Yeah, just give me a second.
Because I'm very much like you said, like I don't want loose ends. Like let's go, let's get it done, let's get in there and hammer it. And he's like, it'll happen when it happens, and I can't.
Yeah,
I cannot do it.
That's
I cannot.
That's totally me.
So do you guys handle all your own marketing, or do you hire a firm out to do that?
We actually have people doing. We hired and outsourced, so they are doing our marketing for us. That's another thing that we honed into in 2020. At the end of it, we really put more effort into our email marketing and ads, which we didn't really do before. Most of our growth was organic through social media. So I'm glad we did, even though that was like another risk, but it was the best thing we could have done.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What is something that you guys have learned that if you had friends that were going to be starting a small business or their little baby starting up, what's some advice that you would give them?
I think I would stress the importance of simplicity. I wish, when we started our Kickstarter campaign, we had a vision of a shoe line and all these options and, colorways and things like that. And so when we launched our campaign, we made, I think it was almost 30 different styles available for people to order, which helped us learn a lot about what people like and don't like. But it would have been significantly easier if we had just narrowed it down to only a couple styles and just really specialized and honed in on those to keep it simple. Like logistically, everything just would have been easier. So I think, just simplifying and going deeper rather than wider.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, when we started, I think it was like definitely a learning experience. And because we had so many styles, it became a little bit more complicated. Just with communicating through the factories and visiting and making sure all the styles are ready to go. And the timeline wise, we didn't know that it took like 6 months for samples and then inventory. So that was definitely like a learning experience early on. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any shout outs to any other small businesses or people that you guys are working with or want to give a plug?
I feel like for me, Afritina Coker, she does a lot of creative and professional photography. It's someone that we recently got connected with and quickly became a friend. So she's amazing. So you should definitely check her out.
Awesome. And then what do you guys do to keep your motivation up? Are you listening to anything, reading anything, podcasts, anything like that?
So
Other than this one.
Yeah, this one, of course. And then we both have pretty much been addicted to the NPR How I Built This podcast.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That was one of the big, honestly, I'd say that was a big driving motivator in stepping out and actually starting our business.
Yeah.
Just listening to the different stories and the craziness that people go through, but also, the success that they find and the strategy behind it all.
Yeah.
And then for me, Shoe Dog, which is the memoir of Phil Knight when he started Nike. And
Oh, okay. I've heard that's really good.
That whole story, that completely changed my way of thinking. And
Awesome.
it's a fantastic book.
I love that. Now,
Yeah.
we've talked about what you're listening to and what you're reading. What's your favorite restaurant around town that you'd give a shout out to?
Y'all live in such a good part of Dallas that
We
y'all
do
have such good access.
Applebee's.
I think
Taco Bell.
I think we both love Tribal All Day Cafe in Bishop Arts. That's where we currently live in Bishop Arts right now. But what were you saying like that you loved about them?
So with the life that we live, it can be a little crazy and unpredictable, and it's not always easy to control the different like health factors. And so we can't always guarantee we're going to get a full night of sleep. We can't always guarantee we're going to have time to exercise every day. But we do have to eat every day. So that's something that's a little more controllable. And we love Tribal. It's probably the best tasting healthy food.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, they have great options, and it just makes it really easy to at least have some control over the health.
Yeah.
Over your day. Yeah.
Right.
Food is one of those things, if you can master that and if you can kind of control, like you said, it changes energy levels, it changes all of that. So you can make up for some of the lost sleep or energy or whatever you need.
For sure.
Okay, so we have a little segment.
Tales from the Lockbox. So this is going to go into advertising, and there's an agent that I know personally.
Agent,
that's right.
Not Asian. That's
Not
me,
Asian.
Jack. That's me,
No,
Jack.
not talking about Asians, talking about an agent. And she got her biggest listing ever. So she listed a house, several $100,000. 28 years ago, that was a big deal. And this was probably about 22 years ago. It was some time ago. And she's making a flyer because she couldn't afford to hire it out at the time. She was doing her own marketing. And she was writing the description of the flyer in the multiple listing service online and in the flyer about the house. And she's talking about all the great things of the house. And so she's describing the kitchen. And she wrote down this flyer and she put it out into the marketplace.
into the world.
Into the world. It's out there. It's on the internet. It's on the sign.
Did y'all have internet back then?
We did.
This is before autocorrect, so
It was
How did this
definitely
happen?
before
Okay,
autocorrect.
but-
So
Where in boots?
what did she say?
So what she said, instead of walk-in pantry, she said walk-in panty. And the person who
Which all
discussed,
panties are walk-in.
They got a lot of showings on that house.
yeah, well, the person who
I wanna
discovered
see.
it was the seller, and he wasn't all too happy.
So did she just go back and like just put a little R in there?
No, she did fix it, and to this day, my wife still gets embarrassed about her mistake that she did there. So I'll be sleeping on the couch tonight. Of course, not tonight. She
No,
won't
she
hear
won't
this.
hear this for a while.
When this
Yeah,
airs.
so I'm safe for a while.
You have plenty of time.
With that, Sarah's gonna level us up.
So talking about small business, I found a quote. It says, "A small business is an amazing way to serve and leave an impact on the world you live in." And that's Nicole Show. And I just thought that, if you guys didn't start what you started and to just go after it, what a waste of talent and creativity and things that I feel like you're hiding or holding it back from the world. And so I just want to encourage everybody just to do it. Just start. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. It probably didn't go the way you guys planned it to go. It sounds like it even worked out better, but I think so many of us are afraid to start. So that's my challenge to you guys. Just go out there and do something.
Love that.
I think a lot of people have great ideas and they just hold on to them and they don't let them go. So,
and then somebody else has it, and then you're like,
and then you're like, dang, I thought of that. But knowing you guys from the beginning, it's been amazing seeing you guys on this journey and seeing where you guys started.
Thank you.
And now where you're at. Started from the bottom, now we're here. So
thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having
us. Yeah.
And with that, PB and Jaisy, we
We
out.
out.
Just had a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.